In this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to trace some letters in Illustrator CC. What we're going to do is use the pen tool, and we're going to practice and trace around this letter we have here. So it's just a slab font that I have, slab condensed. And what we're going to do, I've locked this layer with this letter here, I've just darkened it. And you can see what we're going to do is going to trace this letter. So you can see this letter is actually symmetrical. So it's actually even on both sides. So what I can do is add a guide. Press P for the pen tool, roughly find the center, and I'm going to hold shift and left click again. So you can see you have this stroke here. I'm just going to quickly change the color, as you can see that. So I can use this as a guide. I can select it and press Command or Control 5. So now I have a guide there. So it's roughly in the center. I can actually align it if I want to, but for this tutorial I won't. So you can see here, what we're going to do is start to trace around this letter. So this is good for practice if you want to, practice with different font styles like, script or slab serif or sans serif, and you really want to get better with the pen tool. This is really going to help you. Because this letter is mainly straight lines, there's certain ways we can make it straight, and then we'll work on this curvy S here, and I'll show you some tricks and techniques that's going to help you make tracing those letters a lot easier and better. So I'm going to zoom in. The best thing to do is always zoom in as far as you can. Well, not as far as you can, but you can see here, this is pretty decent. I'm on 24%. So we want to make sure we're getting as close to the line as possible. It doesn't have to be perfect. Obviously, the normal eye can't see that much if it's on a print or on digital, so you don't have to worry too much. But if you want pixel perfection, then you can, do your best. So what I'm going to do is you can see the guide, my smart guides are on. You can see it says guide. You want to go to view, make sure smart guides is on. Control U is the shortcut for that. So what I'm going to do is click off, press P for the pen tool, and I'm going to start clicking. So we want to left click once. That will create an anchor point, and you can see we've got our line there. And you can see our smart guides are on, so it actually reads this letter here. And you can see this is on another layer, but you can see it's reading the shape there, which is really handy. So what I'm going to do is go ahead. You can also hold shift, and what that does is keep the horizontal or the 45-degree angle like this. You can see that, and it will help you. Instead of going off the line, you can just hold shift and then left click again. And you can see we've got our stroke there. And what I want to do is go on here, zoom in, left click there. As you can see, it's got what's happening is the fill there is we want to turn that off. So I'm going to press / or click this button, and then I'm going to zoom back in, click there, and then I can zoom out just to see my progress, how I'm going. So you can see there, I'm tracing it and it's looking good, it's looking nice. Another key button to press is press spacebar, and that will get the hand bar tool, and you can just move around like this. So I can move around the skin. So I can zoom in, move across, and continue to the next part. So you can see smart guides on, that's already helping me. I don't have to do much just to trace letter. Just go through, holding shift if I have to. So make sure it's straight. So I'll zoom in, holding shift, like that. And for this one, because it's not an angle, you can't hold shift, so you're going to have to use your mouse. Zoom in as close as you can and click on the point. Hold shift there. And then finally connect this last shape. So if I bump up the stroke, just going to go to my stroke panel, bump it up a little bit. So you can see there we've already got 1/2. You can see we've also got this space here that we have to do. So I'll go do here. So I'll press P and add that point in and connect this. So we have a shape here and this shape here. And what I'm going to do is make sure this shape is on front. So I'm going to select it, go to Object, Arrange, Bring to Front. And what I'm going to do is select both of these. And I'm going to go to my Pathfinder tool and press the second shape mode, which is going to cut that out. So what it did is cut that shape, small shape, from the bottom shape. And now we have this area. And now because it's symmetrical, what I can actually do is, first I'm just going to go edit this like that. I'm going to then select the whole shape. And we want to make sure that that's connected. Yeah. Selected. I'm going to press O for the reflect tool. So press O. find the center point where we had from the start, hold Alt or Option, left click once. You'll get the reflect tool up, then press preview, the bottom corner. And what it's going to do is reflect this whole shape we just made and reflect it on the other side. And we want to press copy. So now you can see we've got these two separate shapes here, which is kind of cool. So maybe I want to get a look like that if I want, but we don't want that. We want to make sure that it's plus together. So I'll select the shape and you can see that it's still two separate shapes. So we'll select it both, go to my Pathfinder tool and press unite. So press the first one and now it's going to unite it as one shape. And that's how we easily just pretty much trace that letter. And we can use that, we can practice on other letters, and that's an easy way to do that. So what we can do now is work on this letter, which is more curvy, it's a little bit more harder. So for this one, we're going to use the pen tool again, but we're going to be doing some curves. So the trick to doing this is having as least anchor points as possible, because you want to keep the curves as smooth as possible. So the less anchor points, the more smooth it will be. So you always want to find the most furthest point. So think of like a compass. So you got north, northeast, southwest. So you can see that this is the furthest point here. And so if I'm doing a curve, if I do it here, it's not going to be the right. You can see how it's not curving properly. But if I do it here, it's going to be the right amount of curve to get that nice radius. So you can see that the difference. You always want to find the furthest, north point or east point or south or west when you're going around, depending on which way you're going. For example, we're going to go ahead, zoom in, press P. I'm going to start off from the corner here. I don't have to add a guide. For this one, we don't have to do that because it's not symmetrical. I'm going to select that. And you can see what I can do is the furthest point here. So I could do it up here if I want and hold shift, do it like that. And I can add another point here, holding shift like this. Instead of doing it that way, I can do it this way and holding shift and do it this. But you can see now, because it's too far, it's actually stuffing up this curve and it's looking bad. So it's actually better to do 2 points instead of that 1 point. So after time of practice, you'll get used to it. So I'm just holding shift, and what you want to do is you want to make sure that the handles are straight. So you can see these are called handles. Got one there and one there. And this is going to help get that nice curve. So you can see it's already curving the line. You can also hold Option or Alt and move the handle any direction you want to actually edit that curve. So you can see there. So I'm going to Control Z that. Usually you can just leave it because it's already nice and you just have to make it shorter or longer. So I'll find the furthest point, hold shift, try and get as even as possible. And sometimes you have to figure out if you're going to do like a vertical point or a horizontal point. So you can see I can come down here and do it like this way. But you can see I might have to edit this handle, so I'll go zoom in, hold Option or Alt, drag this handle out, hold shift, and just edit this a little bit. I'll come back and edit this point here. Another key thing as well, you don't want to have the handle too long. You want to make sure that both sides are pretty much even, like they're pulling their own weight. Like that. So you can see there we're getting that nice curve all the way there. And it's looking very smooth. It's looking good. So I'll press the pen tool again and click back onto this point so we continue from that point. Sometimes you can't hold shift and do it vertical or horizontal. You'll just have to go in and just do it like this. A bit more casual, but you can see there. I'm going to drag out the handle from there by holding Alt again. Sometimes you might just have to, just improvise and do it like that, which is okay. And then we can always come back and edit that later. For that one, just do a straight line and then back to the curves. You can break the rules a bit. It doesn't have to always be perfect, unless doing a specific job. Once again, I'll find that point there. I'm going to go vertical. And then I'm going to edit this handle there. You can also press A for the direct selection tool and just bump this down, move that. You can see here it's a bit bumpy. So it just takes time, trial and error, and editing slowly to get those nice curves. And then click back once again to continue this part. And I'll drag the handle there. I'll make that vertical. So it might seem confusing at the start, but it's actually really easy once you get the hang of it. And then boom, just like that. So that's looking pretty good. I can see there's a few areas here and here that are not as good as I wanted. But I could always go through, edit the handles again. I can bump them. I can move the anchor points as well. I can do it like that if I want. So you can see there all the anchor points: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So press Shift X and there we have it. Have our letter S. And then boom. It's looking pretty good. We can always go in and edit it and fix it up, but you know, just practice. Do another letter, do another font, and you'll get better and better. So I hope this was helpful. This is a quick way on how to use the pen tool and trace letters. You can trace any fonts. Let me know in the comments below of what tutorials you want to see. That really helps me, you know, put out stuff that's going to be beneficial to you. And also subscribe because I put out tutorials very often and usually every Saturday. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial.